Hey house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother 21 updates and spoilers. Our house guests of the day, it's the L crew. We've got Laura Rubicki, Lena Shaputnik, and Linda Ford. Ladies, thank you so much for the support. We could not do this without you, and we really do appreciate it. So thank you again. And if you guys want to be house guests of the day, check out our Patreon link in the info box below, or send us some mail. So when we left off yesterday, Christy and Tommy were in planning mode. They were trying to come up with some sort of plan to keep Jess this week, because obviously it would be better for them to keep Jess. She's a number for them. Cliff, so it's pretty clear that he's, you know, probably working with Jackson and Holly. So obviously Christy, my sister's name is Kristen. Obviously Christy and Tommy want to take out Cliff. It just seems to me like they're putting in way more work than Jess is. Do you guys get that vibe too? So let's go through some ideas that Christy and Tommy have come up with. So Christy's idea, well, we can have Jess tell people that she's gunning for the next HOH competition and she's going to target either me or Tommy, and then she can just throw the HOH to me. And Christy plans on taking out Jackson. Okay, I don't see them falling for that. Tommy's idea, plant a seed of doubt about Cliff in Jackson and Holly's heads. Have Jess tell them that Cliff and Nicole are working with Christy and Tommy, so then they'll be like, whoa, I guess Cliff isn't really a number for us. I don't really see them falling for that either. Another idea they had, have Jess pledge a final 2 deal to Nicole, and Jess will also promise that if they need a pawn to go up against Jackson or Holly next week, if one of them comes down with the POV, then Jess would go up as the replacement nominee instead of Nicole. So she's also going to tell Nicole that she's going to have a better chance to make it to the end against them than she would against Holly, Jackson, and Cliff. Honestly, this is probably their best bet, because you know how much it tears up Nicole when she's got to make a decision like this. So I'm not saying it would happen, but I'm just saying out of the options, I think getting Nicole's vote would probably be the only thing that they could do. I don't think they're going to get Jackson and Holly to flip. So anyway, Tommy and Jackson were chatting in the HOH room, and this conversation was pretty much BS, because Jackson is trying to act like he's not completely set on Jess going, which he is, but he's trying to throw Tommy off and make it seem like he's not really working with Cliff, but he is. So Jackson's like, oh, I don't know, did I make a mistake going after Jess? Is there a pro to keeping her? What are the pros and cons? So he says, if Jess stays, she might be pissed at me and then put me up on the block. But if Cliff stays, I've burned him a few times now, so he might come after me too. What am I gonna do? So Tommy's like, well, I just want you to think about this. If any of us are sitting next to Cliff on finale night, we gonna lose. And Jackson agrees, and we've already heard Jackson say that he thinks that Cliff is the only person that would beat him in the final 2, and that's only if the jury is voting based on emotion. Those are some big words. So Tommy is asking, is it the right time though, you know, to get rid of Cliff? I don't know. Tommy is also kind of like BSing here, because we know that he definitely wants Cliff to go over Jess. So Jackson says, I'm not saying that Cliff is not a threat, because he is, but the eviction order is really crucial here, meaning he wants Jess out now. Then they can talk about Cliff. So Tommy says, I guess it's going to come down to who offers you a better deal. We've heard him bring up multiple times to Jackson that Jess could present him with some really bomb deal, and and he should consider it because it could be really good for his game. So he's encouraging Jackson to listen to what both of the nominees have to say, and Jackson's like, yeah, of course, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so then Holly joins them, and Jackson is talking again about how he's worried that Jess is going to be going after guys. He's really fixated on that. It's funny though, because she's not just targeting guys. She is specifically targeting Jackson, but I don't think he knows that. So yeah, At this point, Jess would definitely target Jackson. So Holly says, well, on the flip side, Cliff is going to want to keep guys around as shields, and that makes me nervous because I'm not a guy. She's faking it too because she wants to make it look like she's not working with Cliff and Nicole. So later, Jackson is still reassuring Cliff that he has the votes to stay this week. He's like, you know, I might be talking about you with Tommy and Christy, but I'm just trying to make it look less sus. And Cliff is on board with that plan. He told them to do it, so he's all good. Okay, so then Nicole's talking to the cameras, and she says, it's another hard week for me, BB. It's another hard week for me. This time, oh my goodness. She's got 2 allies on the block, and they just so happen to be the 2 people that she wanted to go to the final 3 with, and now one of them is definitely going to be leaving. So Nicole also mentions that Cliff is so adamant about moving forward with Jackson and Holly, and she doesn't know if that's the best plan. You can tell that Nicole is starting to think, I think I got a better chance against Tommy and Christy. I don't want to go to the end with this showmance. So she's still attached to that group, obviously, because of Cliff, and Cliff is on the block, and she doesn't want to upset Jackson and Holly, and, you know, all that stuff. But I think Nicole is definitely wanting to move on with Tommy and Christy, and Cliff, obviously. But she's going through different scenarios here, and she's like, okay, if Cliff or I win the next HOH, she's saying we'll put up Christy and Tommy, one of them will go, or if one of them wins the veto, put up Holly or Jackson in their place, and then whoever goes, goes. We'll see. I really do feel like she would want Jackson to go, not Tommy or Christy, because she knows what a huge threat Jackson is, especially in these last competitions. So back to this eviction. Nicole says that Jess is going to campaign to her, and it's going to make her feel really bad. But she's been working with Cliff so much longer than she's been working with Jess, so she's not just going to, like, dump Cliff like that. Okay, so then Christy was talking to Nicole in the RV room, and Christy says, oh, you know, none of us are going to stand a chance to make it to the end with Jackson and Holly both still here. And Nicole agrees. I feel like Nicole really does agree with that. She's not just saying it. I think she's seeing, holy crap, somebody's got to get Jackson out of here. I don't know that she would do it herself, but I'm sure she wouldn't be too upset if Christy or Tommy won HOH and did it. So Christy says, I plan on putting Holly and Jackson up against each other. I'm not targeting Holly, but in order to get the job done, she feels like she's going to have to put Holly up next to Jackson. And I would agree with that, because if you leave one of them off the block, that person can win the power veto and then they'll both be safe. So that would be really dumb. So Nicole's asking Christy, how do you feel about this week? And Christy says, well, I want you to know that Jackson and Holly are actively telling me and Tommy that they're with us. So she says, I know that that's not true because I know that Cliff has been working with Jackson since the slip and slide week. He told me. So she says Jackson and Holly are setting themselves up to go to Final Four no matter what. You know, they're playing the middle. And she doesn't like that. So Nicole is asking Christy in so many words, because, you know, she doesn't want to ask directly. She's like, are you in a Final Four with Tommy, Jackson, and Holly? And Christy swears on her sister's life that she is not. She also swears on her sister's life that she will put up Jackson and Holly if she wins HOH. She swears it. So then Cliff joins them. Conversation change. I gotta say, Cliff has been doing some major talk blocking in the last 48 hours. It has been masterful watching this. So anyway, the house guests took a little break from the game, sort of. They held this like mock eviction ceremony for a bug that they caught that morning. I think it was Holly that caught it. It was some sort of like centipede type bug thing. They named it Frederick, and they were holding him captive in a Tupperware container. He needs air! He needs holes in the container, or just, I don't know, let him go. So they each go into the diary room one at a time to vote, and then they're like, how are we gonna know how everybody voted? So they ask Big Brother, was he evicted? And BB answered, yes. So they take him to the storage room. They could like slide him in there on the floor. Was that really necessary? So hopefully production's gonna be returning him to the wild. But yeah, they wave at the door like they're doing a real eviction when they're like, oh my god, there's people out there. Blah, blah. So they had some fun with that. And then it was like, okay, now what? Now what do we do with the rest of the day? So later, back to the game, Jess was chatting with Nicole over a game of checkers. It's just not checkers. So this is a bold move. Jess is about to campaign to Nicole on Tuesday, not campaign day Wednesday. Isn't that wild? So she already went over some of her talking points with Tommy, because Tommy and Christy, again, are trying to help her craft a plan that's gonna keep her safe this week. So Nicole's telling Jess, you know, it doesn't get any easier. I've got 2 friends and allies up on the block, and it really sucks. You guys were both part of my ideal final 3. So Jess says, you know, I've been thinking a lot about how much you mean to me. She says, I've always trusted your judgment. Oh, what? That's not what you said a few days ago. But continue. So she says, on a game level, you've always been my person. Jess says, I've got no intentions of pitching to Jackson and Holly this week because they probably want Cliff to stay, and I'm not gonna do it. Like, I need your vote to make this happen. So Jess says, the reason why I'm still here is because of you, and I understand that now. What? She's really laying it on thick right now. I mean, really. So she says, there's never been a time when I felt like you were not loyal to me. Except for all the time. And she says, now I want to remain loyal to you. So she says, I feel like I would really be better for your game than Cliff would. She says, Cliff is a dealsman. He makes a lot of deals. He's out for himself and he's working with Jackson. So Jess says, next week, if I say, I'm going to be gunning for that HOH, and I would put up Holly and Jackson. And she says, Christy and Tommy would also do that. So Jess, as planned, volunteers to go up as a pawn if Jackson or Holly were to come down with the power of veto. So Jess is telling Nicole, I want you to be my final 2, and we can go to the final 4 with Tommy and Christy, and we'll all be on the same playing field. We'll all have a shot at winning this thing. Unlike if you went to the end with Holly, Jackson, and Cliff, like, doesn't look great for you. So she says, even if I don't make it to the end, I want to be a stepping stone for you. Okay, so then Jess is pushing again that Cliff is very close to Jackson. She says, look what Cliff did when he was up on the block against Kat, and he made that deal to stay, like the final 6 deal. And if he could do that to Kat, he would do that to anyone. So Jess says, Tommy and Christy know that something is up with Cliff, Jackson, and Holly, as in they're all working together. So then Nicole's asking, okay, well, are Tommy and Christy in a final 4 with Jackson and Holly? Because that's something that she's nervous about. And Jess says, no way. They know that Jackson has to go. They don't want to keep him. There's no way that they're working together. So then, guess what? Cliff comes over, professional talk blocker. So he stays for a few minutes, and then after he leaves, Nicole says, look, I adore Jackson and Holly, but I'm afraid that if they are like staying, they're just gonna plow through to the end, and that's not okay. So then Jess goes through some scenarios here. She's like, all right, if I stay and Holly wins the HOH, she'll probably put up Christy and myself. But if I go and Holly wins HOH, she might put you up on the block with Christy. You know, if she's working with Jackson and Cliff, she's not gonna put them up, and she's close to Tommy, so she's not gonna put him up. she's gonna put up you and Christy. And, you know, Nicole has heard in the past that Holly was considering putting her up, so that's gonna make her nervous too. So then Jess is pushing Nicole, you should make a big move here. If you win HOH, you should try and split up Jackson and Holly. This is your time. You know, this is your time to build up your resume and win this thing. So Nicole says, dang, I gotta think about all this. Okay, so then after that conversation, Jess checks in with Christy. She's telling her about the chat with Nicole, and Jess feels like it went pretty well. I think it definitely made Nicole think about things more. I don't know that it would actually make her flip, but I think it did give her some things to think about. So she's saying it went well, but she lets Christy know that Nicole is still unsure if Christy and Tommy are working with Jackson and Holly. So Christy's like, oh, I gotta talk to Nicole again. I gotta make sure she knows I am not working with them and I would target Jackson. So Christy plans to talk to Nicole again, and she's saying to Jess, I want Jackson out so bad. I've wanted him out since day 33. The infamous day 33 that Nick and Sam were both talking about when Christy was saying that she wanted Jackson out and she didn't like him as a person, which yes, she did actually say. So Christy says she wants it on her resume that she was the one that took out Jackson. Okay, later. Oh, thank God for these house guests talking to the cameras so we know what's up, right? So Nicole talks to the cameras again in the RV room. This time she says, I sure got a lot of thinking to do. Jess brought up some really valid points, but I need to figure out what's best for my game. So she says, okay, if I kept Jess, Jackson and Holly would both be pissed at me. And yeah, Jackson can't play in the next HOH competition, but Holly can. And she would be pissed. If I keep Cliff, that's my guy. She says Jackson, Holly, and Cliff will all be happy with her. And then Christy and Tommy, she feels like they wouldn't be mad at her because they know that she's close to Cliff, so they should understand it. So she wouldn't have anyone mad at her. So she says, you know what, if it wasn't Cliff on the block next to Jess, it was just like somebody else, yeah, it would make sense for me to keep Jess, but it is Cliff next to her. That's her dude. She says, I can't do it. Nicole says, I know that Cliff is close to Jackson, but that is not a final two. She says, Cliff is smart. He knows that he can't beat Jackson. No. So she figures Cliff really does want to go to the final two with her, and I think that is true. So then Nicole brings up Jess's campaign points about how Nicole has always been her person, and Nicole says, that's not true. She says Jess's person was Kat. Yeah, definitely. She says, I've been loyal to Cliff way longer than I've been loyal to Jess. Okay. She also brings up how Jess said that she never questioned Nicole's loyalty or trust, and Nicole's like, yes, you freaking did. It was just a couple days ago. Jess was crying to her and said that she didn't trust her because of her past trust in Nick and her friendship with Nick. Yeah, that did happen this week, just a few days ago. So then Christy comes in to talk to Nicole, and they keep getting interrupted, which seems to be the theme of the day. So throughout the evening, they had like these little conversations, which I'm piecing together here. So basically, Christy makes it very clear she is not working with Holly and Jackson. She wants to put both of them up on the block. Jackson is her target. So she says, we gotta take a shot at them so that the rest of us will have a chance to win this thing. And Nicole seems to agree with that part. I don't think she wants to go to the end with Jackson and Holly. So then Christy also campaigned a bit for Jess to stay. She's like, you know what? I'm afraid if Cliff wins the next HOH, he's not going to target Jackson. And this could be our last chance to take Jackson out, because this coming week he's not going to be able to play in the HOH competition, but after that, he is. So we got to take this chance while we have it. And Nicole's like, oh, yeah, I need to talk to Cliff about that, because it would be bad if Jackson got away again. So Christy is saying that Cliff has been working with Jackson since Slip and Slide, blah, blah, blah. And she also says that Cliff would be any of us in the final two. I don't know that that's true. I think there are definitely people that can beat Cliff, but it would be really interesting to see some of the breakdowns there with the jury votes. So yeah, Christy says if Jess stays, we'll all have an even shot at winning. And there was more note comparing about Jackson and Holly trying to play the middle and how they don't like that. And Christy says that she and Tommy are going to vote however Nicole decides this week. I mean, yeah, because there's only 5 votes this week. So, wait, 4 votes this week. So if Nicole is not on board to keep Jess, it's just going to be a tie, and then Jackson's going to break the tie. So it wouldn't make any sense for them to do that. So they're going to do what Nicole wants. And she's like, I'm always in the middle. Okay, so today, happy campaign day. Cliff and Jess should be making the rounds later. They haven't really started yet today. What are you guys doing? So, in other news, Holly has some sort of stomach bug. I don't know if she's got food poisoning or what. Apparently Jackson is like really not good with kitchen hygiene and like cross-contamination and like all those kind of things, so that could be it. I don't know, but yeah, Holly and Jackson have been sleeping a lot today. Why is Jackson allowed to sleep all day? I could see Holly because she's sick, but what the hell is that? So yeah, I don't know how that's going to affect the campaigning. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here. At this point, Nicole is still planning on voting out Jess, but you never know what could happen. So let me know what you guys think in the comments, and until tomorrow, much love.